As more than 15% of all Section 8 vouchers in the city of LA go unused, California has restrictions that require landlords to accept Section 8 tenants, but landlords have found ways around it. I'm Tony, and this is Real Estate Investing and Landlord News.
There is just not enough protections that are out there, so many landlords continue to just say no Section 8 blatantly.
Manuel Villagomez is a staff attorney for the Legal Aid Foundation of Los Angeles, a nonprofit law firm that works with low-income residents. He says landlords have figured out ways to keep Section 8 renters out of their buildings.
Credit checks, deposits, application fees, holding deposits. There are these issues that people that are in the Section 8 program aren't able to kind of meet.
All right, so I have an interesting article for you today, and it's going over Los Angeles, California Section 8 program. It is a joke, okay? And not just the landlords are saying that. The tenants are saying it too, because the way it's set up right now, it takes so long for a tenant to be able to even get into the program that, it makes it pretty much useless. So, I've always talked about how I don't like these socialist type programs because they incentivize people never actually improving their lives and making better for themselves. Instead, what they do is they hold people down. They make them, okay, well, we can't earn over this amount or we'll no longer be eligible for our free government handout. So, that's not good for society. That's not good for people in general. And people who think like that, they're just going to be stuck on the bottom rungs of the economic ladder for the rest of their lives. So, the article I'm reading today, it's kind of written with a more pro-tenant perspective, right? But the gist of the article is that landlords in LA, like pretty much everywhere else across the country, don't want to deal with Section 8 tenants. And they're doing whatever it takes in order to get around the state law that says that, hey, you're required to take these tenants. Okay, I've told you that already. Landlords will find a way to make their businesses work. These laws, they don't mean anything if they cannot be enforced or if there's an easy way around them. So before I get into the article, go ahead, hit the like and subscribe button, maybe leave a comment down below and let me know what you think. First of all, if you're a landlord, is the place where you own real estate or invest, do they have a law that requires you to take Section 8 tenants? And if they do, what are the common ways that landlords use to kind of get around the law, be it, higher credit score, income requirements, etc.? I'm just curious right now because, it's obvious to me that they put these laws into place and then they get all angry at the landlords for figuring out a legal way around those laws. So then they try to pass even more laws. That's why these laws are coming up now that say, oh, well, it's illegal to have income requirements. Oh, you can't do a criminal background check. Oh, you can't do a credit check anymore. That's why they're doing this, because they want to force you to take these awful tenants that you don't want. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. So anyway, let's get into this article and see what it says. This article is coming from abc7.com, and it says, LA's Section 8 housing program plagued by unused vouchers and landlord rejections. Yeah, and they have a little video with this article. I'll play part of that for you right now.
Tough times are common times for Jasmine Parson.
So my daughter was on this bed.
The single mother has been living in this tiny room with her 2 teenage kids for a year while she works toward a psychology degree at East Los Angeles College. But when Parson received a Section 8 housing voucher that could land her own apartment, she braced for disappointment.
I have seen people who have a voucher and they can't use it. And so then they end up losing their voucher and they have to start all over.
Sadly, what Parson is describing happens more than it doesn't. That's because Section 8 can be more of a catch-22. To get a Section 8 voucher, you literally have to win a lottery just to move forward in the program. The last time the city opened up a Section 8 voucher waiting list, more than 200,000 people applied. Now, if you're one of the lucky 30 or so thousand picked, you get moved to a waiting list. And after potentially years of waiting, you can end up with a Section 8 voucher to finally get you into a home. But here in Los Angeles, a study found that less than half of those who got vouchers were able to find a lease before the vouchers expired.
It is very challenging and tough for our tenants to connect with a landlord and find a unit.
All right, you saw the video. Let's get into the article. The ABC 7 Eyewitness News investigative team has found chronic, troubling failures of the federal Section 8 housing choice voucher program in Los Angeles, leading to thousands of the vouchers going unused while the city's homelessness problem grows worse. You know, I always hate it when they always talk about, oh, the homeless. You know, the problem is that the homeless. No, the people who are out there on the streets, right? And this is the homeless people that the majority of people are seeing are the ones who are out on the streets. They are not the type of people who are, you know, getting Section 8 vouchers and moving into apartments, okay? I mean, yeah, there are some places that do that, but the grand majority of those people want to be out there. They do not want to live in a structured environment. They want to live on the streets. They don't want the help. They have drug, alcohol, and mental health issues, etc., that make them think that, hey, it's more desirable for me to live on the street. Yet they act as though, oh, well, if more landlords accepted Section 8 vouchers, all these homeless people would suddenly be housed. No, will not happen, okay? There's other issues at hand, and blaming the landlords and our rejection of Section 8 vouchers is not a reasonable excuse. I've seen people who have a voucher and they just can't use it. So then they end up losing their voucher and they have to start all over, said Jasmine Parson, who waited 1.5 years for her Section 8 voucher. Officials for the Housing Authority for the City of Los Angeles, HACLA, said the biggest problem they run into is a lack of landlords who will accept Section 8 residents. It is very challenging and tough for our tenants to connect with a landlord and find a unit, explained Carlos Van Natter, the director of Section 8 at HACLA. The landlord is not required to accept a Section 8 voucher holder. We hope that they do, and many of them do that. And I believe that in the state of California, actually, they are required to accept Section 8 tenant. Or, I don't know the exact specifics of the law. So if you're a landlord in California, maybe you could put it in there. But I'm pretty sure they do have a state law that makes, this illegal for you to deny somebody based on their income, supposed income coming from Section 8. So, yeah, I think that there are going to be always a lot of landlords who just don't want to participate because of all the issues with the bureaucracy, the inspections, and just the overall very low quality of tenants that are on the Section 8 program. I mean, you're talking about, in this article, they're even talking about, oh, we want to put the homeless up in there. Well, I don't want a whole bunch of homeless people, even if they have a voucher, living in my unit. Even if you have a voucher that covers 100% of the rent, well, we're putting a person into your unit who might have substance abuse problems or mental health issues. And that's just not a good idea, okay? So that might, like I said, this isn't going to help the homelessness issue, right? But in the article, they actually have a few of the reasons, or not reasons, but the ways that landlords are getting around the Section 8, requirements within the state of California. But I'll get to that in just a moment. It's very challenging and tough for our tenants to connect with a landlord and find a unit, explained Carlos Van. I think I already read that. But not enough of them are. Our data team found that Los Angeles has more than 58,000 subsidized housing units and vouchers at its disposal. Of those homes and vouchers, 85% are being used, but the vast majority of those that are going unused are the Section 8 vouchers. With roughly 42,000 people unhoused, LA's homelessness problem is one of Mayor Karen Bass's biggest challenges. We have a couple of thousand vouchers that people could use, but we need landlords to be willing to take those vouchers, Bass told Eyewitness News. But there are considerably more than a couple thousand vouchers, according to the latest federal data. Los Angeles had roughly 9,000 Section 8 vouchers that went unused last year. So the way that it was explained in this whole story is that there is a lottery that you have to enter to even get onto the waiting list if you're a tenant. So you apply for the lottery, right? And of the tens of thousands of people who get accepted, right, they only have so many slots available. So then once you are on the slot, you get put onto the waiting list. Then you wait several years, and then finally your name will come up and you will be granted this Section 8 voucher, right? And I don't know how many years it is, but I always wonder when I read this sort of thing. So, where, these people are supposedly very low economic status, right? And they're barely surviving and they need this voucher bad, yet somehow, I guess through a miracle, they were able to survive and have somewhere to live for several years while waiting for the voucher. So it doesn't add up, right? Like if you truly needed the voucher, there's no way that you'd be able to wait several years unless you're literally out in the street sleeping in on the street corner. And that's not the case with the grand majority of people on the waiting list. The grand majority of people have housing. It might not be subsidized housing, but they have some sort of housing. So if you're able to afford housing, and this is the grand majority, right? This isn't. I'm not talking about the people who are 100% disabled, none able to work, or the people who are actually homeless. I'm talking about the grand majority of people on this waiting list. They have the ability to afford housing. It might not be the best situation. It might be you living in your mama's basement or in a friend's house or having 6 roommates or whatever, right? But you have housing, which means that you don't actually need the voucher. That's what my problem with the Section 8 program is, right? I believe that a lot of people who have the vouchers don't need it. And rather than those people, who are on the waiting list saying, okay, well, I'm going to go and I'm going to, even though I can't get the voucher right now, I'm going to apply for it. And for the next few years, I'm going to be working to, get a better job, increase my income, earn more at my current job, whatever, so that I don't need the voucher a few years from now. No, instead, by being on that list, it encourages those people to keep their economic status super low, never earn a penny more, and then they will, be on the government's subsidy for the rest of their lives. So yeah, it's a complete joke. But let me skip down to this part here. And it says what exactly landlords are doing. It says Villa Gomez says even though California and Los Angeles laws prohibit landlords from turning away potential tenants because they have Section 8 funding, they still find other ways of doing it. Credit checks, deposits, application fees, holding deposits that are being collected now. There are these issues that people in Section 8 program aren't able to meet, he said. So yeah, you heard it right there. Basically, landlords are using, credit checks, security deposits, etc., application fees, whatever they can to make it much, much harder for a Section 8 tenant to be able to meet the standards. And if that is the case, then you're still able to screen out these tenants who basically won't be able to afford anything without government assistance. And so they're complaining about that rather than just saying, okay, we need to take a good hard look at our Section 8 program and figure out why landlords don't want to participate. Instead, they want to pass laws and try to force landlords to participate, and it still doesn't work out for the tenants. So interesting article, but you know what? You would think that, oh, this is only a problem in a place like LA, a very progressive left-leaning place. No, this is the same issue that they face here in Nebraska. I mean, minus the laws that say that you have to take Section 8, but this is the exact same problem that is being repeated throughout the entire country. So this should tell you that this isn't a issue of local laws or even state laws. Okay, this goes up to the federal government, and the program itself, it is fatally flawed. Okay, and that's why landlords do not want to participate in it.